The Forensic Entomology group is a group of academics, scientists, researchers, totaling 4 people at the University of Western Australia. So we're into decomposition processes, and part of the early decomposition processes or early taphonomy is forensic entomology. In other words, how you decompose the insect material that comes to you, and basically how we sample that, collect that, and then interpret our results. That's, if you like, one of the areas of that we're involved with. Other areas that we're involved with is stable fly research. Stable fly is a blood-sucking fly, which is quite a pest up and down the Swan Coastal Plain, and been a problem since the late 80s. It hasn't got much better, although something is being done about it now, and we have a large research team focused on that. The outcome there is to basically control the stable fly. The stable fly is a manure breeding and breeds in rotting vegetable matter. This occurs in horticultural areas, especially where people are growing crops. This is up and down the Swan Coastal Plain. This is quite a problem. There's an adult needs to have a blood meal, and that blood meal generally gets it from livestock. So cattle are affected, like dogs are affected, horses are affected, and so on. It also affects humans in terms of their lifestyle. In areas where there's high stable fly populations, people can't go outside to enjoy themselves, and they have to wait until the evening hours to go outside and do that, because this fly doesn't fly at night. Most flies don't fly at night, so during the day you're going to get blood sucked from you. Other areas and research interests are parts of forensic entomology, which include things like food. Food is a major problem where people bite into their alfresco food, or they buy takeaway and they find insect material in it. And of course this has to be, we determine whether or not the material has been struck pre-purchase or post-purchase. And from that, some things can end up in court, and most of these things can be resolved based on the science. The other areas we deal with are cruelty to animals, where animals are either neglected, trapped, or animals are poisoned, and we can determine, based on the flies again, we can determine how long that animal's been neglected from maggots in the wounds. And we're also involved on the medical side. We're involved with maggot therapy. We have an interest in rearing sterile maggots to be released onto gangrenous or necrotic wounds, and so speed up the healing process of those wounds, especially in areas where antibiotic breakdown is occurring. And this has now occurred in America and in Europe. It's been recorded now in the eastern states, and many of the hospitals there are now breeding sterile maggots for this purpose. There's many factors which affect flies breeding in corpses. Of course, where the corpse is situated is one of the biggest things, whether it's on land or in the water, whether it's near marine environments, whether it's buried, and these are the sorts of things we have to contend with. So basically what happens is within half an hour of you dying, at least outside, you will have insect material, or at least flies, coming to you and laying eggs on you. In some cases they're not necessarily eggs. Some flies don't bother with eggs, and the eggs hatch inside the female, and she lays live larvae or maggot onto the wound or onto an orifice, and the process goes from there. This sort of examination depends on whether an entomologist attends a crime scene or not. If others have to collect for the entomologist, we're never sure that what's been collected is correct unless they've been properly trained and educated, and this is slowly happening now, at least with the West Australian Police. Normally an entomologist attends a crime scene and collects the insect material from a corpse or the deceased, depending on how that's collected and who collects it. But if an entomologist collects it, it can be quite accurate, especially when a body's been discovered within a week of death, or up to 2 weeks. It can be quite accurate as well. And when I say accurate, I mean within 1 week we can be within 3 to 6 hours. At 2 weeks, we'd have to extend that time to about a day. But it all again depends on the context of where the body's found, how the material's collected and how it's delivered to an entomologist. This DNA profile is used in this science because one of the biggest, or two of the biggest challenges for forensic entomologists is determining the species and knowing information about its biology. Without the identification process, we are unable to proceed with the second part of giving a determination, even if we have the biology. The identification of an insect is crucial in this. Normally it's been morphologically done, so in other words with keys, and you look at the morphology of the insect. Now it's done with DNA. So basically most of the cadaveric flies have been profiled, so we know DNA profiles, and we're able to determine what species what. DNA is also in other aspects of forensic entomology. And a good example of this is in Texas, where some years ago where a lady was raped, and when she went to the rape clinic to be examined, they found body louse on her. The woman was well groomed. The person who raped her left the body louse on her. Basically they were collected, and from the crop of the louse they took blood, because they're blood feeding insects, and they got two profiles, hers and the person who left them with her, and they then put it through the Texas DNA database, and the person was identified and arrested. One of the major aspects of the centre is teaching. The teaching role incorporates units in forensic entomology, things like death investigation. We teach a 60-hour contact course in forensic entomology. And this is to give people an awareness who study forensic science, and awareness of what forensic entomology is. It doesn't make them a forensic entomologist as such, but it gives them an awareness. Other aspects of teaching for us are of course teaching law enforcement. Twice a year now we're teaching law enforcement in workshops. So we basically have lectures. We have using pigs as our models. We decompose a pig, and we have law enforcement collecting from these animals, and getting used to how to collect, how to sample, and how to preserve, and then of course how to get it to an entomologist. If you need more information, then please contact us at the University of Western Australia. All our details are available online.